Sometimes the greatest healing is found not in searching for others, but in turning inward, trusting what God has already placed within your reach. And this is the heart of the path taken by Ibn al-Qayyim, the path that shaped why he taught people to heal themselves with al-Fātiḥah. He said, Rahimahullah, if a servant were to perfect his treatment using al-Fātiḥah, he would see an amazing effect in healing. I stayed in Mecca for a period during which I suffered from illnesses. I found no doctor and no medicine, so I treated myself with al-Fātiḥah and saw remarkable effects. I would describe this treatment to anyone who complained of pain, and many of them would recover quickly. This was not presented as a miracle story, but as an experience that comforts the heart after the clear guidance of the Prophet ﷺ, who affirmed that al-Fātiḥah is a ruqyah. Ibn al-Qayyim taught that the blessed way is to guide the sick person to recite over themselves instead of clinging to others. Many people would come asking, do you know Iraqi? Can you show me Iraqi? But the way of the scholars was different. They directed the person back to their own voice, their own need, their own brokenness before Allah. He recalled how the early righteous would encourage this. One of the Salaf, Mutarrif bin Abdullah bin al-Shakhir, visited a sick man who said, pray for me. He replied, pray for yourself, for your prayer is the prayer of one in distress. And God says, who answers the distressed when He calls upon him? A person feeling pain, carrying hardship, calling out with sincerity, that is not like someone who feels none of it. So Ibn al-Qayyim would tell those who came to him, recite al-Fātiḥah over yourself, and many of them would heal quickly. He did not say, I recite it over them. He said, I would describe it to them. A crucial difference. He warned of what happens when people turn the practice of ruqyah into public clinics, crowds, fame, dependence, and trials that were never known among the early generations. Then he, rahimahullah, explained the truth that touches every heart seeking healing. The verses, supplications, and dhikr used for treatment are in themselves healing, but they require a heart that accepts and a soul that trusts. He said that when healing does not occur, it is either because the heart receiving the ruqyah is not ready, or because the one performing it has weak resolve, or because a strong barrier blocks the cure. Just like physical medicines sometimes fail due to resistance or imbalance. He said that the heart, when it accepts ruqyah with full openness, benefits in proportion to that acceptance. And the same is true of a du'a. It is one of the strongest means for removing harm and attaining what is hoped for, but its effect may be held back. Sometimes du'a lacks strength because it carries a form that God does not love. Sometimes the heart lacks presence, turning away from Allah in the very moment it claims to call Him, like a weak bow releasing an arrow with no force. And sometimes the barrier is the person's own actions, consuming the unlawful, committing injustice, allowing sins to harden their heart, letting heedlessness and desire take control. This is why the Prophet ﷺ said, call upon God while you are certain of the answer, and know that God does not accept the supplication of a heedless heart. And he ﷺ said in the hadith of Muslim, O people, God is pure and accepts only what is pure. God has commanded the believers with what He commanded the messengers. O messengers, eat of the good things and act righteously. Then He mentioned a man on a long journey, disheveled and dusty, raising his hands to the sky, saying, my Lord, while his food is unlawful, his drink is unlawful, his clothing is unlawful, and he has been nourished by the unlawful. So how can he be answered? And it was said, a small amount of supplication with righteousness is like salt and food, enough for its purpose. So when someone says, I tried reciting al-Fātiḥah, but nothing happened, al-Qayyim reminds us, the cure is certain. The Qur'an is certain. The Prophet ﷺ affirmed it with certainty. The missing part is not in the verses themselves, but in the heart's acceptance, the strength of trust, and the removal of barriers. The one who recites must have certainty in God, not the attitude of, let's see if it works. Healing comes with yaqeen, with trust, with turning fully to Allah. And the one seeking healing must cultivate hope, confidence, and reliance upon God alone. Because du'a works when accompanied by righteousness. And righteousness empowers du'a. And so we ask God, the most generous, the Lord of the mighty throne, by His perfect names and exalted attributes, to benefit us with what He has taught us, to increase us in knowledge and guidance, to reform all our affairs, and never leave us to ourselves, even for the blink of an eye. Peace be with you.